Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to talk about the A6700. So a couple of years ago when the A6700 came out, I borrowed it off Sony for a couple of weeks. And I was thoroughly impressed with it, and I was super excited because they had finally made one of their crop sensor A6000 series cameras into sort of a semi-pro intermediate level body. So after using it for those couple of weeks, I was like, I'm definitely getting one. And today I just want to run over sort of why I think this is the best entry-level camera that's ever been made. So if you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll know that I've made videos sort of recommending the cameras that I think are great for people starting out and beginning in photography. And it's always been these little A6000 series Sony cameras. You know, obviously I've come from like the DSLR world into the mirrorless world, and I've been on Sony mirrorless pretty much since the start. I had the Nex 5s and the A5000, you know, all of them from the beginning, and I've owned them all and shot them all through the years up until now. And that's why I've always recommended the little A6000 series bodies. And they've always been great little cameras, but they've always missed a few things here and there. And that's where the A6700 came in and sort of solved a lot of those issues. And obviously I'm open to discussion on this. If there's other brands who have entry-level sort of cameras, crop sensor cameras that can outperform the 6700, then chuck it in the comments and let me know, because I'm not really schooled up on other brands. I only really use Sony, so I wouldn't know. But for years, like I said, professionals to beginners to intermediates alike, everybody always asks for one of these Sony crop cameras with a few extra features to sort of make it a bit more usable. And as you can see, I run an extra little grip thing on mine, the small rig adapter plate with the extra grip, just to make it a bit more ergonomic in the hand, because that's the one thing that these older ones always struggled with, was they just didn't feel good. They had these tiny little grips on them and small batteries. So they did add the bigger grip on the 6700, which was great, but if you got big hands like me, you still need a bit of extra meat there to hold on to make it feel comfortable in the hand, like you're not going to drop it. But yeah, they remedied that part of it. They made the ergonomics better, but the biggest thing they did, they added the front dial on finally, which is one thing that everybody always wanted in one of these little cameras. There's still features in the A6700 which, you know, I think they could have put in there, like dual card slots, even if it was just a second micro one or something. And that's just for people like me who do it professionally and do like to have that redundant shooting. But it's not a game breaker. Again, I've made videos about this subject before if you want to check them out. But as a whole, I personally think the A6700 is the best sort of entry-level camera. I say that in air quotes because it's basically a professional camera in a sort of what has been known as entry-level crop body. And when you're starting out, your standards aren't really high. When you've done it for a long time and you've obviously used all the high-end pro bodies, your standards are a bit higher, so you do nitpick a little bit. But at the end of the day, the tool just needs to do the job. And I remember when I first borrowed this, I was amazed. I took it on a commercial shoot I was doing and pulled it out of my bag just to get a few photos, and I was blown away by the files that came out of this. So on the still photography side of things, it's an absolute beast. Like, you know, you can do 11 frames a second mechanical and electronic, which is more than enough. You do not need more than that. If you need more than that, you don't know what you're doing, you know. Like, even on the A9s and stuff, I never run them on full speed. It's just too much. That 10 frames a second, if you can't get the shot with 10 frames a second, you know, you need to scrub up on your skills a bit. So stills wise, like, you know, you can do anything with this. And the one thing the A6000 series has always been known for was the AF, you know, even going back to these older ones, they always boasted about, oh, you know, the fastest AF ever. And then like when this came out with the AI chip and everything, it's just next level again. Like the autofocus in this thing is insane. And that's coming from me who's shot Sony for over 10 years and also used DSLRs before that, you know. Like, it's pretty amazing what this thing can do autofocus wise. Yeah, stills wise, it's an absolute beast of a camera. And then on the video side, they could have easily throttled this thing. They didn't have to give it all the video features the FX30 has. Like, yes, it's missing a couple small things, but the fact you can do 4K 120 in this, like in a sort of intermediate entry-level camera, is insane. And it's good, you know, it's heavily cropped, the 4K 120 and 100, but all the 4Ks out of it are amazing. Again, I've filmed a lot with the FX30 in the past, so I know the sensor and know what it's capable of. And even filming in like pitch black with the FX30 and bumping the ISO right up, I was thoroughly impressed by the files out of it still. So I guess you could call this a bit of a follow-up on the previous video talking about sort of what I recommend cameras wise. And if you are starting out and you want to go the Sony route and you're wondering which camera to buy, obviously the A6700 is going to be a bit more expensive. You know, you're going to have to spend a bit more money than, say, one of the other latest 6000 series like the 6400, or, you know, there's so many now I can't even keep up. But It's well worth it. This thing, like I said, is like basically a professional level camera. I mean, what defines a professional level camera? At the end of the day, a camera is a camera as long as it does what you need it to. But the features this thing has are why I would recommend spending a bit more money and getting one of these over any of the other 6000 series, whether it's for the video or the stills. The 26 megapixel sensor in this being a bit newer, it just pumps out a better image than the older 24 megapixel. Like, you know, these are beasts. Like, you get amazing shots of these, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying they're not good cameras, but if I was starting out and I was looking at these 6000 series cameras, I would spend a little bit more and get the 6700 just because it's that next level better. And like, you know, like I always say, at the end of the day, the camera that you have is the best one. Like, whatever you can afford, don't finance them, buy something within your budget. But if it's within your budget to go a little bit more and get something like the 6700 over maybe one of the older A6000 series, they're still going to do the job, but this is just going to do the job a bit better. Things like the AI autofocus and everything in this is just worth paying the extra money for in itself. And I mean, who knows what Sony's going to come out with in the future, but I don't really see how they could get a lot better than this. Currently, this thing is an absolute weapon of a camera. So yeah, if you are in the market and you're wondering if I would recommend one of these, 100%. This is the best way to go in the crop sensor Sony world. The A6700 trumps every other 6000 series camera they've ever made and does better than a lot of their full frame cameras as well. It's absolute beast, so I would highly recommend it. You guys know I don't like making a lot of camera related videos because it's just a tool for me, but yeah, got to make one about this because it's just such a weapon of a camera. And again, I use the entry level sort of camera in air quotes because like I said, I could happily shoot with this all day long. It's such a beast. So yeah, that's just my 10 cents on the A6700. Go check out those other videos I'll link above if you haven't already and sort of get some insight there. And yeah, go out and get one of these if you're thinking about it. You won't regret it. Chuck a decent lens on the front and you'll be pumping out some epic shots in no time. Thanks for watching, team. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.